First up, the 1953 wheat penny is one of those coins that often sparks curiosity among collectors and non-collectors alike. At first glance, it might look like just another old penny, but there's more to this coin than meets the eye. In this video, we'll be exploring the history of the 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark, its design, mintage, and, most importantly, its value in today's market when found in normal black or brown circulated condition. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. It's named for the two stalks of wheat on the reverse side of the coin, which frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. This reverse design was created by Victor David Brenner, who also designed the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it was released to mark Lincoln's 100th birthday in 1909. The 1953 wheat penny, specifically the one without a mint mark, was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 256 million Lincoln cents. Because of this relatively high mintage, the 1953 no-mint mark penny is not considered rare. However, like many coins, its value can vary significantly depending on its condition. In average circulated condition, which includes pennies that have been in regular use and show signs of wear, the 1953 wheat penny is typically brown or dark in color. These are known in the coin collecting world as brown coins, and they are quite common. In this state, the coin has lost its original red or red-brown luster due to oxidation over the years. While this doesn't make it worthless, it does reduce its collectible value compared to uncirculated or high-grade examples. So, how much is a 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark worth today if it's in normal circulated condition and appears black or brown? As of the current market, which reflects pricing based on recent auction results and dealer listings, a 1953 no mint mark wheat penny in average circulated condition generally sells for between 5 and 15 cents. Yes, that's slightly more than face value, but not by much. However, it's important to understand why these coins still have value above face, even if it's only a few cents. One reason is their age. Many people collect wheat pennies simply because they're no longer in production and represent a different era of U.S. history. Also, the copper content of these older pennies is greater than that of modern cents. The 1953 penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a melt value that's often higher than a penny produced today, which is mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. That said, it's illegal to melt U.S. pennies for their metal content, so the melt value doesn't really influence what you can get for the coin on the open market. Instead, collector demand is the primary factor. If your 1953 penny is just your standard black or brown coin with visible wear, but all the design elements still legible, then it falls into the low-end collector value range. Coin dealers might offer you less than 10 cents for it, simply because they have so many in stock, and the demand for common, circulated wheat pennies is not very high. But what if your coin is in slightly better shape? Coins that show only light wear and retain some of their original detail might be graded as fine or very fine. In these grades, the value can rise slightly, maybe up to 25 or 30 cents. Still, it's not a life-changing amount. Uncirculated or mint state examples of the 1953 no mint mark penny, especially those with original red coloration, can be worth significantly more. These coins can sell for several dollars, and in high-end mint state grades like MS-65 or MS-66, they might fetch $10 to $30 or more, depending on the eye appeal and the coin's certification by a professional grading service. But again, those are not the average brown or black coins most people find in pocket change or inherited collections. It's also worth mentioning that there are no widely recognized major errors or varieties for the 1953 no mint mark penny that significantly impact its value in circulated condition. Some collectors claim to find doubled dies or off-center strikes, but these are rare and must be authenticated to be considered valuable. So, to sum it up, if you have a 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark in black or brown circulated condition, its value in today's market is usually around 5 to 15 cents. While it's not rare, it's still an interesting piece of U.S. coinage. History and many collectors enjoy adding these older pennies to their collections simply for the historical connection and the nostalgic feel. If you're holding on to a handful of these coins, they might not make you rich, but they're still fun to collect, trade, or even pass down to future generations. Just remember, condition is everything in the coin world. If you come across a shiny, uncirculated example of a 1953 penny, it might be worth taking a closer look, or even getting it graded. The 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark. What makes it potentially valuable, and how much it's worth in today's coin market, specifically if it's in good condition. To start, the 1953 wheat penny is part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was minted from 1909 until 1958. The coin features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front, and wheat stalks on the reverse, which give the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. These coins were designed by Victor D. Brenner and were the first U.S. coins to feature a real, historical person rather than a symbolic representation. Now, the lack of a mint mark on a 1953 penny means that it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1953, Philadelphia produced over 256 million of these coins, making it one of the more common issues in the wheat penny series. So at first glance, you might think that this coin wouldn't be worth much, and in heavily circulated condition, that's generally true. However, there's more to the story. Let's define what good condition means in the world of coin collecting. Grading plays a huge role in determining a coin's value. In general, a coin graded as good, or G4 on the grading scale, will have heavy wear. Most major details of the design will be visible, but flat in many areas. Despite this wear, even coins in this condition can carry some value depending on demand. As of today, a 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition is typically worth between 5 to 10 cents. That's not a fortune by any means, but it's still more than its face value, and it demonstrates the enduring interest collectors have in wheat pennies as a whole. The appeal of these coins isn't just about rarity, it's also about their place in American history and the nostalgia they bring for mid-20th century coinage. Now, the real value of a 1953 wheat penny becomes more apparent as the condition improves. For example, a coin in fine or very fine condition, where more details are visible and less wear is present, might fetch around 25 cents to 50 cents. In extremely fine condition, where there is minimal wear on the high points of Lincoln's face and coat, the value can go up to $1 or slightly more. But what if the coin is in uncirculated condition? That's where things start to get more interesting. An uncirculated 1953 penny without a mint mark, which shows no signs of wear and still has its original luster, can be worth several dollars. On average, these coins might sell for anywhere from $2 to $5, depending on eye appeal, color, and strike quality. Red-colored uncirculated coins, which have retained their original copper shine, tend to command higher prices, sometimes even exceeding $10 or more for high-grade examples. And of course, when we talk about rare and valuable coins, we have to mention third-party grading. Coins that have been professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC tend to sell for more because buyers have confidence in their authenticity and condition. A 1953 wheat penny graded MS65 read by PCGS, for instance, could sell for anywhere from $20 to $50, depending on the market and the buyer's interest. While that might not sound like a huge amount, it's a decent return on a coin that was once just 1 cent. And if you have a full roll or collection of wheat pennies, those values can start to add up. In some rare cases, coins with mint errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, can be worth much more. Though most error coins from 1953 are rare, it's always worth taking a closer look at your coin under a magnifying glass or getting a second opinion from a professional. It's also worth noting that the market for coins is always changing. Interest in wheat pennies has stayed strong due to their iconic design and historical relevance. More and more collectors, especially younger ones just getting started, are seeking out wheat pennies as a way to begin their coin collecting journey. That demand helps maintain and sometimes boost the value of even common dates like 1953. So, to recap, if you have a 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark and it's in good condition, you're probably looking at a value of around 5 to 10 cents. That might not be life-changing money, but it's still interesting to see how a coin can appreciate over time simply due to its age and place in history. And if your coin is in better condition, say, very fine or uncirculated, then you might be able to get anywhere from a few dollars to even more, especially if the coin has been professionally graded or has an unusual feature. If you're holding on to one of these coins or thinking of starting a wheat penny collection, it's a fun and accessible area of coin collecting that doesn't require a huge investment to get started. Keep your eyes open, do your research, and you never know what kind of value you might find in a simple copper coin from over 70 years ago. Next up, the 1947 S wheat penny is one of many Lincoln cents produced in the mid-20th century, but it holds a special place among collectors due to its historical context and the significance of the wheat cent series. While not extremely rare, this coin can still carry value depending on its condition. In this video, we'll explore the history, design, mintage, and current market value of the 1947 wheat penny with the S mint mark, especially when found in good circulated condition. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person, with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. The design was created by Victor David Brenner. The reverse of the coin features 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and unity. This design remained in place until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The 1947 S wheat penny was minted at the San Francisco Mint, as indicated by the small S mint mark below the date on the obverse. In 1947, the San Francisco Mint produced over 99 million Lincoln cents, making this coin relatively common in terms of mintage numbers. However, the value of any coin is not determined solely by how many were made. It also depends on how many survive today in collectible condition and the demand from collectors. When it comes to condition, coin collectors use a standardized grading scale to determine a coin's value. A coin in good condition means it has been well circulated and shows significant wear. For wheat pennies, this typically means that Lincoln's details are worn down. The lines in the wheat stalks on the reverse are faint or partially gone, and the coin may have discoloration or darkening from circulation. While this is on the lower end of the grading scale, many collectors still seek out coins in this condition for completing year and mint mark sets. So, what is the value of a 1947 S wheat penny in good condition in today's market? Based on current pricing trends, most 1947 S wheat pennies in good, circulated condition are worth around 5 to 10 cents. While this is not a large sum, it is still more than the coin's face value. And for collectors working on building a full Lincoln wheat cent set, these coins hold value as part of a historical collection. If you have a 1947 S penny that's seen better days but is still readable, it likely falls into this 5 to 10 cent range. Dealers who sell wheat pennies in bulk often include 1947 S examples among the more common dates. These coins are usually sold by the roll or bag for collectors who are just starting out or for hobbyists looking to fill a spot in a coin folder. It's also important to mention that while the average circulated 1947 S penny isn't especially valuable, coins in higher grades can command more significant prices. If you come across one in very fine or extremely fine condition, where the details are sharper and the wear is minimal, it could be worth 25 to 50 cents. In uncirculated or mint state condition, especially if it retains its original red color from the copper, the value increases even more. An MS-63 red 1947 S penny, for example, might be worth between $3 and $5, while coins graded MS-65 or higher by a reputable grading service can fetch $10 or more depending on the eye appeal. That said, most people who find a 1947 S penny today come across it in change, in old jars, or in inherited collections, and these are usually circulated coins in good to very good condition, unless it is in a high mint state grade, or unless it has an unusual error. The coin's value stays relatively modest. Speaking of errors, there are no widely recognized major error varieties for the 1947 S wheat penny that significantly increase its value. Minor striking issues like die cracks or off-center strikes may occur, but unless these are dramatic or well-documented errors, they generally add little to the base value. If you suspect you have a 1947 S penny with an error, it's always a good idea to consult a reputable coin dealer or get a professional opinion from a grading service. Collectors value wheat pennies like the 1947 S not just for their monetary worth, but for their historical importance. Minted shortly after World War II, these coins are part of America's post-war history. The fact that they are made primarily of copper also gives them a more appealing look and feel compared to today's zinc-based pennies. In conclusion, a 1947 S wheat penny in good condition typically holds a value of about 5 to 10 cents in today's market. While it's not a rare or high-value coin in circulated condition, it remains a popular and nostalgic piece for collectors of all levels. If you're building a Lincoln cent collection or simply enjoy the history behind U.S. coins, the 1947 S is a solid and affordable addition. Next up, the 1957 D wheat penny is one of the most common wheat cents produced in the United States, but despite its high mintage, it still captures the interest of collectors. In this video, we'll explore the history of the 1957 D wheat penny, examine its features, discuss what good condition means for this coin, and break down its current value in the collector's market. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front side, and two stylized wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent on the reverse. This design was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person and was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1957, the wheat cent was nearing the end of its production. The following year, in 1958, the design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, which remained in use until 2008. As such, 1957 wheat pennies are among the last of their kind, and, although not rare, they hold historical interest as part of the final chapter of the wheat cent series. The 1957 D penny was minted in Denver, as indicated by the small D mint mark just below the date on the obverse. The Denver Mint struck an impressive 1,051,342,000 wheat cents that year, making the 1957 D one of the most abundantly produced wheat pennies of all time. Because of this high mintage, it is very easy to find examples of this coin in circulation, coin shops, and online marketplaces. Now let's talk about condition. In coin collecting, condition, or grade, plays a significant role in determining a coin's value. For wheat pennies, the Sheldon scale is commonly used, ranging from poor 1 to mint state 70. When we talk about a coin in good condition, We are referring to a coin that falls somewhere around G4 on this scale. This means that the coin is heavily worn, with major details still visible but faint. For example, Lincoln's hair and jawline might be mostly smooth, and the wheat ears on the reverse may show minimal detail. However, the date, lettering, and mint mark are still fully readable. Because the 1957 D penny is so common, a coin in good condition is not considered rare or especially desirable by advanced collectors. However, there is still a market for it, particularly among beginners, casual collectors, and those interested in building a complete set of Lincoln wheat pennies. As of today's market, a 1957 D wheat penny in good condition typically sells for around 5 to 10 cents. This is slightly above its face value of 1 cent, but far below the prices that rare or high-grade coins can command. The small premium reflects its value as a historical item and collectible rather than its intrinsic metal content or scarcity. If you happen to find a 1957 D penny in your change, it's not going to make you rich, but it does serve as a small piece of American history that connects us to a different era of coinage. While common in lower grades, coins in extremely high condition or with unusual errors can be worth significantly more. For instance, a 1957 D wheat penny in uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear, can be worth between $1 and $5 depending on the grade. If it is certified by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, and graded as MS65 or higher, its value can increase even more, sometimes reaching $10 to $20 or more, especially if the coin has brilliant red luster and excellent eye appeal. There are also some error coins and varieties associated with the 1957 D penny that can bring a premium. These include doubled dies, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks. Coins with clear and dramatic errors can be worth significantly more, ranging from a few dollars to several hundred, depending on the nature and visibility of the error. However, these are relatively rare and must be authenticated by experts. When evaluating your 1957 D wheat penny, it's important to consider both its condition and whether it might exhibit any unusual features. Coins that have been cleaned, scratched, or otherwise damaged are usually worth less, even if they appear shiny. Original surfaces and natural toning are preferred by most collectors. If you're interested in selling your 1957 D penny, the best approach is to check recent sales on platforms like eBay or visit a local coin dealer. Keep in mind that dealers often buy at wholesale prices, so what you receive may be lower than the retail value. If you're buying, be sure to look for coins that are accurately described and, if possible, certified by a reputable grading service for higher value examples. In summary, the 1957 D wheat penny in good condition is a highly common coin with modest value, typically worth between 5 and 10 cents. While it won't finance a retirement, it's a great entry point for new collectors and a reminder of America's rich numismatic history. Whether you're sorting through pocket change, starting a coin collection, or simply curious about old coins, the 1957 D wheat penny is an affordable and accessible way to connect with the past. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you, and next time, happy collecting. Next up, the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. We'll talk about its history, key features, and most importantly, its value in today's market if it's in good condition. First, let's understand the basics of this coin. The 1942 wheat penny is part of the Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. These pennies were designed by Victor D. Brenner, and they feature the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, or obverse, side. The reverse side has two wheat stalks that border the words 1 cent and United States of America. This reverse design led to the nickname wheat penny, which collectors and the general public still use today. In 1942, The Philadelphia Mint produced over 657 million Lincoln wheat cents. This was during World War II, and the U.S. Mint was producing large quantities of coins to support the wartime economy. The Philadelphia version of the coin, which has no mint mark under the date, is by far the most common variety of the 1942 penny. Given the high mintage number, it's not considered a rare coin. However, its value can still be meaningful, especially to collectors who care about condition and completeness of their wheat penny sets. Now, let's talk about what it means when we say, a coin is in good condition. In coin collecting, the condition of a coin is typically graded on a scale that ranges from poor to mint state. A coin in good condition, or G4 on the grading scale, has been heavily circulated. The design is still visible, but there will be significant wear. On a 1942 wheat penny in good condition, you can still clearly see the date and the outline of Lincoln's portrait, although finer details like the hair or the lines in his coat may be worn smooth. The wheat ears on the reverse will also be flat in most areas. As of today, a 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition is worth around 5 to 10 cents. While that may not sound like a lot, it's still up to 10 times its face value, and that's a good return for a coin that many people still find in old collections or even in loose change. The reason it holds any value at all, despite being common, is because of its age, and because it's part of a historical series that remains popular with collectors. If the coin is in better condition, say, very fine or extremely fine, the value increases modestly. In very fine condition, a 1942 wheat penny might be worth around 20 to 30 cents. In extremely fine condition, where most of the detail is still visible and wear is minimal, it can be worth up to 50 cents, or slightly more. These values are influenced by the overall market for wheat pennies and the interest from collectors. Things become more interesting when the coin is in uncirculated, or mint state, condition. An uncirculated 1942 wheat penny with original red color and no signs of wear can be worth anywhere from $2 to $10, depending on the exact grade. In higher mint state grades like MS-65, the coin might fetch $20 or more, especially if it has been graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Professional grading adds credibility and can significantly raise the market value of a coin, especially when it comes to mint state or high-quality examples. While the coin itself isn't rare, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is much less common. That's why collectors are willing to pay more for coins that have retained their original color, shine, and detail after more than 80 years. It's also worth noting that some era coins from 1942 have fetched high prices at auction. For example, a 1942 penny struck on the wrong planchet or one with a doubled die error can be worth much more than a standard example. These types of era coins are extremely rare, and they are generally verified by professional graders before being sold at premium prices. That being said, the average 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark found in good condition is not likely to be an error coin, but it never hurts to examine your coin carefully or get a second opinion if something about it looks unusual. Small details, such as misaligned lettering, doubling, or odd coloration, can sometimes indicate an error or variety that boosts the value well beyond normal estimates. So, to summarize, a 1942 wheat penny from the Philadelphia Mint, which has no mint mark, is a common coin with a high mintage. In good condition, its value today is typically 5 to 10 cents. Coins in better condition can range from 20 cents up to a few dollars, and uncirculated examples can go for even more. While not a rare treasure, the 1942 wheat penny remains an accessible and meaningful collectible for both beginner and experienced coin collectors. The real value of this coin often lies in its role as part of a complete set, its historical significance, and the condition in which it has survived over the decades. Whether you're just starting out in coin collecting or sorting through an old family collection, it's always worth checking the condition and details of your wheat pennies. Sometimes, Even common coins can surprise you with their story and their value. Next up, the 1949 wheat penny with the S mint mark. But what makes this coin interesting, and how much is it really worth today if you have one in good condition? Let's take a closer look at the 1949 S wheat penny, examine its history, and break down what it could be worth in today's collector market. First, some background. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. The wheat penny remained in production until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. The 1949 wheat penny was minted during a post-World War II period when the U.S. economy was transitioning from wartime production back to peacetime activity. 3 mints produced the penny that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The version struck in San Francisco carries the S mint mark just below the date on the obverse, and this is the coin we'll be focusing on. In total, the year San Francisco Mint struck just over 64 million 1949 S wheat pennies. Compared to other years and mint locations, this is a moderately high mintage. It's not the rarest wheat penny by any means, but it's still sought after by collectors, especially in higher grades. Now let's talk about value. If you come across a 1949 S wheat penny in good condition, meaning it shows significant wear, but all major details are visible, the coin's value is modest. In today's market, as of 2025, a 1949 S penny in good condition typically sells for around 10 to 20 cents. That might not sound like much, but it's still more than face value, and a small return on a coin that may have been sitting in a drawer for decades. So, why is it worth more than just 1 cent? Even in circulated condition, older wheat pennies like this one are no longer being made, and collectors value them for completing date and mint mark sets. The coin's copper content also adds a small, intrinsic value, as it was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, the metal value doesn't usually exceed a few cents, and it's the collector demand that primarily drives the price. As the condition improves, so does the value. A 1949 S penny in fine condition, meaning the coin still shows light, to moderate wear but with more visible details, can fetch around 30 to 50 cents. If you have one in very fine or extremely fine condition, you might be looking at a value closer to $1 or $2, but the real jump in value happens with coins in uncirculated or mint state condition. These coins show no wear from circulation and often retain their original luster. In mint state grades, especially MS60 and above, the value of a 1949 S penny can range from $5 to $25, depending on the specific grade and the overall eye appeal of the coin. For example, an MS63 red example, where the coin retains its bright copper red color, might sell for $15 to $20. Higher grades, such as MS65 red, can command prices upwards of $30 to $40, especially if certified by reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC. One interesting note about the 1949 S wheat penny is that, while it's not a key date, it is known for having relatively strong strikes compared to some other San Francisco minted coins from the era. This means that well-struck examples with clean surfaces can stand out to collectors who are assembling high-quality Lincoln cent sets. It's also worth noting that coins with unique characteristics, such as die cracks, doubling, or off-center strikes, can sometimes bring higher premiums if they fall into the category of error coins. While no major or well-known varieties of the 1949 S penny are currently recognized, it's always a good idea to examine any older coin closely for anomalies. If you think you might have a valuable 1949 S wheat penny, it's best to handle the coin carefully, avoid cleaning it, and consider having it evaluated by a professional. Coins that are cleaned or damaged can lose a significant portion of their collector value. In conclusion, the 1949 wheat penny in good condition holds modest but real value in the numismatic market. While a heavily circulated coin might only bring you 10 to 20 cents, higher-grade examples can be worth several dollars or more. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just found an old coin in a jar, the 1949 penny is a great example of how everyday change can carry both historical and monetary value. If you're building a wheat penny collection or just curious about coin values, keep an eye out for mint marks and condition. Even common-date coins like the 1949 can become valuable additions to a collection, especially when preserved well. Next up, the 1945 wheat penny is a common coin that many people come across in old change jars, inherited coin collections, or even in circulation. If you've found one, especially without a mint mark and in worn or bad condition, you might be wondering if it has any value. In this video, we'll explore the 1945 wheat penny from the Philadelphia Mint, talk about its historical background, discuss what bad condition means in coin collecting, and find out how much this coin is worth in today's market. To start with the basics, the 1945 wheat penny is part of the Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. These coins were designed by Victor D. Brenner and feature Abraham Lincoln on the front, or obverse, and two wheat ears on the reverse. That reverse design gave these coins their nickname, wheat pennies. The design remained in use until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. In 1945, the United States was still in the middle of World War II, and the U.S. Mint produced a large number of Lincoln cents to support the wartime economy. The Philadelphia Mint, which does not use a mint mark, produced over 1 billion Lincoln cents that year, more specifically, about 1,040,515,000 coins. This extremely high mintage makes the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark one of the most common wheat pennies in existence. Because of this, most 1945 wheat pennies do not hold high value, especially in what collectors call bad or heavily circulated condition. But before we get into pricing, it's important to understand what condition means in coin collecting. Coin collectors use a grading scale to describe the wear and appearance of a coin. A coin in bad condition generally refers to grades like good, G4, or about good, AG3. In this state, the coin has heavy wear. Lincoln's features on the obverse may be flat, and details like his hair or the lines in his coat may be almost completely worn away. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are usually faint, and the rim might be worn down to the letters. Despite the wear, the date and main design elements are still visible, but barely. So what is a 1945 wheat penny in this kind of condition worth in today's market? The short answer is about 1 to 3 cents. Even though the coin is old, its value is still very close to face value because so many of them were produced and survived. The coin is made mostly of copper, so in some cases, its value might be slightly influenced by the current price of copper metal. But since the penny weighs just 3.11 grams, it doesn't add up to much in scrap value either. Still, there are a few reasons people choose to keep coins like these. First, they are a piece of history. The fact that your 1945 penny circulated during or just after World War II connects it to an important time in American and world history. Second, many collectors try to build complete sets of Lincoln wheat. Pennies and even low-grade examples help fill those slots. For that reason, coins in poor condition still have a home in beginner collections or historical displays. It's also worth noting that although the vast majority of 1945 wheat pennies are common, there are a few rare errors and varieties that could make a particular coin more valuable, even in bad condition. Some known errors for 1945 wheat pennies include off-center strikes, die cracks, and lamination errors. These are manufacturing defects that can occur during the minting process. While most minor errors won't raise the value dramatically, certain dramatic or eye-catching mistakes can be worth more to collectors. For example, a 1945 penny struck significantly off-center, meaning part of the design is missing, can sometimes sell for $5 to $20 or more, depending on how dramatic the error is. A coin with a visible die crack or lamination issue might be worth slightly more than face value to someone who collects error coins. However, these types of coins are not common and usually need to be clearly visible to add extra value. If you happen to find a 1945 wheat penny with an unusual look or striking error, it's a good idea to compare it to known error types, or even get a second opinion from a coin dealer or online coin community. But in most cases, a standard 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark in poor condition is very common and will not bring in more than a few cents. Now, if your 1945 penny is in better shape, say, in very fine or extremely fine condition, it might be worth 10 to 25 cents. Uncirculated examples can go for $1 to $5 or more, especially if they have good eye appeal and original red color. But for the focus of this video, we're talking about coins in poor shape, and in that category, values stay very low. So to summarize, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark was made in huge numbers by the Philadelphia Mint. In average worn condition, its value today is between 1 and 3 cents. Unless the coin has a rare error or is in much higher condition, it's considered a common date with low collector value. However, it still has historical significance, and it can be a great starting point for new collectors or those building a full Lincoln cent set. If you find one in your change or collection, don't expect it to fund your next vacation, but it's still a fun and educational piece to hang on to. Whether for the history, the design, or the chance of finding a rare variety, wheat pennies like this continue to capture the interest of coin collectors across generations. Next up, the 1943 steel penny is one of the most talked-about coins in American coin collecting. It's known for its distinctive appearance, unique composition, and wartime history. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at one specific version of this coin, the 1943 steel penny with the S Mint mark, which was produced at the San Francisco Mint. We'll explore why this coin was made of steel, what makes it interesting to collectors, and how much it's worth today if it's in extra fine condition. To begin, let's briefly look at the background of the 1943 penny. During World War II, the United States was conserving copper for the war effort, especially for making ammunition and other military supplies. To save copper, the U.S. Mint decided to produce pennies using a steel core coated with a thin layer of zinc. This change was only made for 1 year, so all regular issue Lincoln cents produced in 1943 were struck in steel rather than copper. The result was a coin that looked very different from the typical brown or red tone of previous Lincoln wheat pennies. Instead, the 1943 pennies had a shiny, silver-gray appearance due to the zinc coating. While they may look like dimes at first glance, these coins still carry the 1-cent denomination and feature the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat ears on the reverse. The design remained unchanged. Only the metal content was different. The 1943 steel penny was struck at all 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint coins are identified by an S Mint mark located just below the date. Over 191 million steel cents were produced at the San Francisco Mint in 1943, which makes it a high mintage coin. However, condition and historical interest still make some of these coins quite desirable to collectors. Let's talk about condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything when it comes to value. A coin in extra fine condition, or XF, has only minor signs of wear on the highest points of the design. For the 1943 S steel penny, This means you'll still see strong detail in Lincoln's hair and beard, clear lettering, and well-defined wheat ears on the reverse. While there might be some light wear from circulation, the coin remains sharp and attractive overall. As of today, a 1943 steel penny in extra fine condition typically sells for around 50 cents to 75 cents in the collector market. This is quite a bit more than face value, especially for a coin that was produced in such large numbers. The reason for this value is not just rarity, but demand. The 1943 steel cent is one of the most collected coins in the Lincoln series. Because it stands out visually from other pennies and has a direct connection to World War II, it attracts a wide range of collectors, from beginners to experts. If you have a 1943 steel penny and you're wondering how to tell if it's in extra fine condition, you'll want to check a few specific areas. On the obverse, Lincoln's cheek and jawline should show only slight wear, and the lines in his coat should still be visible. On the reverse, look at the tops of the wheat ears. If they are mostly intact with only light wear, the coin may qualify as extra fine. The surfaces should still have some of their original luster, and the rim should be full and complete. Now, it's important to mention that steel pennies have some unique issues that affect their long-term condition. One of the biggest problems is corrosion. The zinc coating on the coin was meant to protect the steel core from rust, but if the coating wears off or is damaged, the steel underneath can start to corrode. A corroded steel penny, even in what was once extra fine condition, can lose much of its collector value. That's why well-preserved examples are still sought after, even if the coin itself is not considered rare. On the other end of the spectrum, uncirculated or mint-state 1943 steel pennies can sell for significantly higher prices. In grades like MS-63 or MS-65, these coins can sell for several dollars, often ranging from $5 to $15 depending on the coin's quality, color, and whether it has been professionally graded. Bright, uncorroded coins with full luster are especially valuable. But for today's video, we're focusing on extra fine condition, which still holds respectable value for a circulated coin. There's also a lot of confusion around the 1943 penny because of the famous error coins struck on bronze planchets instead of steel. These are extremely rare and valuable, sometimes selling for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. However, these copper 1943 pennies are completely different from the standard steel cents. If you have a 1943 penny that looks brown or copper-colored, it might be worth having it professionally tested, but for most people, the coins they find are the normal steel versions. To summarize, the 1943 steel penny is a common but fascinating coin from a unique time in American history. In extra fine condition, its current market value is around 50 to 75 cents. While it's not going to make you rich, it's worth far more than face value and serves as a tangible reminder of the sacrifices made during World War II. Whether you're collecting for fun or for investment, a 1943 steel penny in extra fine condition is a worthwhile piece to have in your collection. Next up, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark, and examine its history, how to identify it, and what it's worth today, particularly if it's in a typical circulated condition with normal wear or damage. First, let's look at the background of this coin. The 1945 wheat penny was minted during a pivotal time in American history, at the end of World War II. It was struck at 3 U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If a 1945 penny doesn't have a mint mark beneath the date, that means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This version is by far the most common of the 3 for that year. In total, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion 1945 wheat pennies, approximately 1,040,515,000 coins. With such a high mintage, the 1945 no mint mark penny is not rare in terms of how many were produced. Because of this, the coin's base value is generally low, especially in circulated condition. But as with all coins, collector interest, metal content, and condition all play a role in determining value. Let's now focus on the typical circulated condition. This means the coin has been in everyday use and shows clear signs of wear. The details on Lincoln's hair and coat may be flattened, the wheat stalks on the reverse may be faint or partially worn down, and there may be small nicks, discoloration, or other minor damage from handling. This is the most common state in which the 1945 wheat penny is found today. In today's coin market, a 1945 wheat penny from Philadelphia in average circulated condition, what collectors would call good to very good, is typically worth about 2 to 5 cents. That's just slightly above its face value, and that's largely because of its historical significance and copper content. Speaking of composition, the 1945 penny was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was a return to the traditional composition after the one-year experiment in 1943, when the U.S. Mint produced pennies made of steel coated with zinc to conserve copper for the war effort. Because of its copper makeup, the intrinsic metal value of the coin fluctuates with copper prices. However, even with copper at elevated prices, the melt value of a single penny is still under 3 cents. And it's important to note that melting U.S. pennies for their metal value is illegal under current U.S. law. So, what factors could increase the value of a 1945 no mint mark penny? The main factor is condition. Coins that are in much better shape, showing little to no wear and maintaining original mint luster, can command higher prices. These are known as uncirculated or mint state coins. But since we are focusing on circulated, worn, or even slightly damaged coins in this video, the value stays relatively low. That said, if the coin has an unusual error, such as a double die, off-center strike, or lamination error, that could make it much more valuable, even in worn condition. Error coins are highly collectible and can sometimes fetch several dollars or even more, depending on rarity and demand. However, no major or widely recognized errors are commonly associated with the 1945 Philadelphia wheat penny, so most circulated examples do not fall into this category. Collectors often seek out coins like the 1945 wheat penny as part of a complete date and mint mark set of Lincoln wheat cents. While the individual value of a circulated 1945 penny is small, it still plays an important role in completing that collection, which keeps demand steady. If you're holding on to a handful of wheat pennies, including some from 1945, it's a good idea to sort them by date and mint mark and then evaluate their condition. Even if you don't have a rare or high-grade piece, a group of wheat pennies can still be worth more when sold together as a bulk lot to a collector or dealer. For example, a roll of 50 circulated wheat pennies that includes common dates like 1945 might sell for anywhere between $2 to $5, depending on overall condition and buyer interest. So, to summarize, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark is a common coin in the world of U.S. numismatics. If you have one in normal, circulated condition with visible wear and no notable errors, you can expect it to be worth 2 to 5 cents in today's market. While that may not seem like much, the coin still has value, both as a collectible and as a piece of American history. It reminds us of the wartime era when every cent counted, and production continued through global conflict and recovery. If you're interested in collecting or selling wheat pennies, the key is to learn how to grade coins accurately. Recognize mint marks and look for special varieties or errors. Even common coins can hold surprises, and a closer inspection might reveal more than you expect. Next up, the 1955 wheat penny is one of the most talked about coins in U.S. coin collecting, and for good reason. While most 1955 wheat cents are common and easily found in circulated condition, one particular version, without a mint mark, can be incredibly valuable. In this video, we're going to explore everything you need to know about the 1955 wheat penny from the Philadelphia Mint, including how to identify valuable varieties, what counts as nice condition, and how much these coins are worth in today's market. First, let's talk about the basics. The 1955 wheat penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. It features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, or obverse, and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, which gives the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. In 1955, these pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with each coin weighing about 3.11 grams. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 330 million wheat pennies in 1955. These coins do not carry a mint mark, as was standard for Philadelphia coins at the time. Because of that large mintage, most 1955 pennies without a mint mark are relatively common, especially in circulated condition. However, that doesn't mean they're worthless. Coins in better condition and, more importantly, certain varieties from that year can be worth significantly more. When collectors talk about a coin being in nice condition, they usually mean it is somewhere between very fine and about uncirculated on the grading scale. These coins have moderate wear, but retain most of their design details. The lines in Lincoln's coat are visible, the lettering is clear, and the wheat stalks on the reverse show decent definition. The coin may have some luster and little to no discoloration. So, what is a typical 1955 wheat penny in nice condition worth today? On the low end, if the coin shows light wear and retains strong detail, its market value is usually between 10 cents and 50 cents. Coins in even better condition, such as about uncirculated or uncirculated, can bring in between $1 and $5, depending on eye appeal and coloration. Original red coins, meaning they retain their bright original copper color, can command higher prices, especially in mint state grades. But here's where things get really interesting. The 1955 wheat penny is home to one of the most famous error coins in American numismatic history, the 1955 doubled die obverse. This variety was the result of a major die error during production. A working die received a misaligned second impression from the hub, which created strong doubling in the lettering and numbers on the front of the coin. In a genuine 1955 doubled die penny, the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as the date 1955, all appear with strong, clear doubling. This is not a subtle mistake. It's visible even to the naked eye. Because the error was dramatic and thousands of these coins were released into circulation before the mistake was caught, they quickly became famous and highly sought after. Today, a 1955 doubled die wheat penny is considered one of the must-haves for serious Lincoln cent collectors, and its value reflects that. Even in well-circulated condition, this coin can sell for $1,000 or more. In nice condition, such as extremely fine or about uncirculated, it can fetch between $2,000 and $5,000. In uncirculated, red mint state grades, prices range from $10,000 to $20,000 or higher, depending on the coin's quality and whether it has been certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Because of the high value of the doubled die, there are many look-alike coins that cause confusion. Machine doubling, which happens when the coin shifts slightly during the striking process, can create a flat or shelf-like doubling effect, but it is not the same as a true doubled die. Machine doubling does not add any value. To determine whether your coin is a genuine doubled die, it's best to compare it to verified images from reputable sources or have the coin authenticated by a professional. So, if you have a 1955 wheat penny without a mint mark, your first step should be to examine the date and lettering on the front of the coin. If you see strong doubling in the key areas, it's worth getting it evaluated professionally. Even if it's not the famous error variety, a 1955 penny in nice condition still has collector interest, particularly if it shows minimal wear or has good color. It's also worth noting that wheat pennies continue to attract collectors today, even decades after the last one was minted in 1958. Building a full set of Lincoln wheat cents is a popular collecting goal, and the 1955 issue, especially the double die, is one of the highlights of the series. In summary, a regular 1955 wheat penny without a mint mark in nice condition is usually worth between 10 cents and 50 cents, with higher prices for coins that are close to uncirculated. However, if your coin happens to be the rare and famous doubled die variety, its value could range from $1,000 to over $20,000, depending on condition and certification. Because of this, it's always worth taking a second look at any 1955 wheat pennies you come across. Next up, the 1952 wheat penny minted in Denver, identified by the small D mint mark below the date on the obverse, and more specifically, its value in today's market when found in extra fine condition. Let's begin with some historical background. The 1952 D wheat penny was struck during the post-World War II period, a time of strong economic growth and rapid change in the United States. Coin production was high, and the Denver Mint played a significant role in meeting the nation's demand for small denomination coins. In that year, the Denver Mint produced over 746 million Lincoln cents. This high mintage makes the 1952 D penny a relatively common coin by volume, especially when compared to earlier dates or lower mintage issues in the series. Despite being common in terms of mintage, the 1952 D wheat penny remains popular among collectors, especially those working to complete a full set of Lincoln cents by date and mint mark. But value in the numismatic world isn't based on mintage alone. Condition, demand, and collector interest play a big part in how much a coin is worth today. So, what does extra fine mean when it comes to coin grading? Extra fine, or XF, is a condition that represents a coin that saw only light circulation. It will show minor wear on the highest points of the design, but retain strong detail and clear features. On an extra fine 1952 D wheat penny, you can expect to see most of the fine lines in Lincoln's hair and beard still visible, while the wheat stalks on the reverse remain mostly sharp. Luster may be diminished or partially present, and the fields might show small contact marks, but overall, the coin appears well preserved and attractive. Now, let's talk about value. As of 2025, the typical market value of a 1952 D wheat penny in extra fine condition is around $0.30 to $0.50. That means if you have this coin in your collection or happen to come across it in a box of old change, it's worth significantly more than face value, but not enough to be considered rare or high dollar. So why does a coin that's over 70 years old and in relatively good condition have such a modest value? It comes down to supply and demand. Because so many were produced, and because wheat pennies were saved in large quantities by collectors and the general public, examples in extra fine condition are not particularly scarce. Still, their value holds up due to the coin's age, copper content, and ongoing interest from collectors. It's important to note that while extra fine condition is a nice grade for a circulated coin, the real jump in value happens at higher uncirculated grades. A 1952 D wheat penny in mint state 63, which would be considered a lower-end uncirculated coin, might sell for around $2 to $5, depending on the color and strike. In mint state 65, red, the price could climb to $15 or more, especially if the coin is certified by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC. When collecting wheat pennies like the 1952 D, color is also a factor in value. Copper coins naturally tone over time, and their color is graded as red, red-brown, or brown. A coin with a bright red original color is more desirable than a dull brown one, all other things being equal. Extra fine coins typically fall into the red-brown or brown category, as the original mint luster has usually faded due to circulation. As for errors or varieties, The 1952 D wheat penny doesn't have any widely recognized major errors that significantly affect value. However, as with any coin, there are occasional examples with small minting mistakes like die cracks, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. While these are less common, minor errors can sometimes bring small premiums if they are dramatic enough or attract the attention of collectors who specialize in error coins. Another thing to keep in mind is the metal composition. Like other pre-1982 pennies, the 1952 D is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. With copper prices having risen in recent years, the intrinsic metal value of each coin is around 2 to 3 cents. While this is still below most collectible values, it adds a small base-level worth that modern zinc pennies don't carry. If you're looking to sell or buy a 1952 D wheat penny in extra fine condition, your best options are coin dealers, online marketplaces, or coin shows. Keep in mind that individual buyers and dealers often pay less than retail value, especially when buying single coins. Selling in bulk, such as in small groups or full sets, can sometimes bring better overall prices. To summarize, the 1952 D wheat penny is a common but collectible coin from the mid-20th century. In extra fine condition, it carries a modest value of around 30 to 50 cents in today's market. While not rare or highly valuable, it remains a solid piece for those completing a Lincoln cent collection or simply preserving a piece of American history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you, and next time, happy collecting. Next up, the 1956 D wheat penny is a popular coin among collectors of Lincoln cents. Even though it is not considered rare, it is still widely collected for its place in history, and its value can vary depending on condition, errors, and demand. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the 1956 D wheat penny in good condition, discuss what makes it collectible, and find out how much it is worth in today's coin market. The Lincoln wheat penny, first minted in 1909, is one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. Designed by Victor D. Brenner, the front of the coin features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displays two stylized wheat ears, which gave the coin its popular name, the wheat penny. This reverse design was used until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1956 wheat penny with the D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 1.098 billion Lincoln wheat pennies, making it one of the more common dates in the entire series. With such a high mintage, most 1956 D pennies are not rare and are easily found in circulated condition. However, they remain an essential part of any complete wheat penny collection. When we talk about coin condition, we refer to the amount of wear the coin has experienced during its time in circulation. A coin in good condition, often referred to as G4 on the numismatic grading scale, shows heavy wear. Most of the finer details on the coin will be worn smooth, but the major features should still be visible. On the obverse of the 1956 D penny, Lincoln's profile will be worn down, but the date and lettering will still be legible. On the reverse, the wheat stalks may appear flat, and much of the finer detail will be gone, but the words 1 cent and United States of America will remain readable. So how much is a 1956 D wheat penny worth in good condition? In today's market, the typical value for one of these coins is around 3 to 5 cents. That may not sound like much, but it's still more than its face value. And many collectors are happy to include even lower-grade coins in their sets if they're affordable and historically significant. For coins in better condition, the value can increase. A 1956 D penny in very fine or extremely fine condition may be worth between 10 and 25 cents, while uncirculated coins with full mint luster can be worth $1 to $5 or more, depending on eye appeal and color. Original red examples graded mint state by services like PCGS or NGC can sell for even higher, especially in higher MS grades like MS-65 or MS-66. But what makes the 1956D wheat penny especially interesting to some collectors are the small varieties and errors that can sometimes be found among them. While the regular version of the coin is common, certain errors can significantly increase a coin's value. These errors include doubled dies, repunched mint marks, RPMs, die cracks, and off-center strikes. Among these, the repunched mint mark varieties are the most commonly collected for 1956D. A repunched mint mark occurs when the D was stamped into the die more than once, but in slightly different positions. On some coins, this results in a visible doubling of the D mint mark. These coins are not necessarily rare, but they are more valuable than the standard version. Depending on the strength and visibility of the repunching and the overall condition of the coin, a 1956D RPM can be worth anywhere from $5 to $25 or more, even in circulated grades. There are also some minor doubled die obverse varieties for 1956 to D, though they are usually not dramatic and can be hard to spot without magnification. However, any genuine doubled die variety will have more value than a standard example. As always, it's best to compare your coin to authenticated examples or have it reviewed by a coin dealer or grading service if you suspect you may have one of these varieties. If you're wondering whether to keep or sell a 1956 D penny in good condition, the answer depends on your goals. If you're just getting into coin collecting, it's a great coin to hold on to. It's part of a classic series, and it helps tell the story of U.S. coinage in the mid-20th century. On the other hand, if you're sorting through a large collection and trying to estimate overall value, keep in mind that individual 1956 D pennies in low grades are very common and typically only add a few cents each to the collection's total worth. The sentimental or educational value of a coin like this can also be meaningful. Many collectors remember finding wheat pennies in their pocket change when they were younger or inheriting them from relatives. Even common dates like the 1956D connect people to history in a tangible way and can spark a lifelong interest in numismatics. To summarize, the 1956D wheat penny is one of the more common coins from the wheat cent era, with over 1 billion minted. In good condition, its value in today's market is about 3 to 5 cents. Higher grade coins, and those with visible errors, like repunched mint marks, can be worth more. While it may not be a rare or high-value coin, it's an important piece of American coin history, and a favorite among collectors who enjoy assembling full sets of Lincoln wheat cents.